Welcome back to Epically Universal. I'm your host, Keegan Lanier. Follow me on X, wherever it pops up here. If you're watching on YouTube, for those of you listening to the podcast, as always, you can find it in the description. Today is a big day, right? You guys probably have the details. This is being recorded a little bit after the fact, but we've got details on some of the first lands coming to Epic Universe, and that is freaking awesome. So let's go ahead and switch this thing over. I want to take you through the site. So Epic Universe, for those of you who don't know, I know you know, but it's the new park coming to Universal Orlando Resort next year in 2025. We've already got dates open for 2 of the hotels for bookings in January. The parks won't be open yet, but that's just a sign that things are moving, and things are moving very, very fast. So I am unbelievably, unbelievably amped about this freaking park. Like, y'all have no freaking idea. This picture here looks like it's part of the model. Now we got the preview center open, which we'll talk about in future episodes. But we've got details on 4 of the 5 lands. And today, I really wanted to talk about how to train your dragon, the Isle of Berk. You know, this one, take to the skies and soar with dragons as you explore the colorful village or Viking village. This one, it hits me in my soul because I'm an old school Islands of Adventure person, and the Isle of Berk is about as close as we're going to get to the original Lost Continent at Islands of Adventure. So it's got me freaking crazy excited. And I'll never forget the first time I walked through Islands of Adventure. My mind was blown. I was like, holy Jesus, this is wild. This is incredible because it's beautiful. And the themes and the islands, they were all so well done. And the transitions between each one of them were so well done. I think what we're about to see with Epic is 25 years of lessons learned, much more money, bigger budgets, bigger creative departments. All of this, technological advances, we're about to see all of that come together in less than a year or roughly 1 year's time in Orlando. So for me, like, this is an hour and 20-minute flight from where I'm at, which is unreal. I mean, I've been a pass holder since before, right at COVID in 2020, and I can get to Orlando pretty easy. It's not expensive, and this park is one that I'm going to spend probably an obscene amount of time in the next couple of years. But this How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, look, I'll be the first one to admit, when you look at the stack of all the islands together, or the lands that were announced or that were speculated on for a long time, this is one that I was probably at the bottom of my list, only because I've never seen the movie, never watched any of the How to Train Your Dragons. So I don't know much about it, but I know a beautiful land when I see it. And this one is pretty crazy, right? So, I mean, you've got, number one, what you're seeing on the screen right here is just insane. It's big, it's colorful, it's pretty. I'm going to shrink. You don't need to see all of my face. But it is a pretty incredible looking land. You walk into it, you got the gliders, you got the roller coasters, you got all this stuff that just looks visually very cool, right? And so as you continue through the land, you just see the roller coaster over the water, under the tunnels, under the walkway, giving me Incredible Hulk vibes, although in a less intense coaster. You've got these flat rides here that look incredible too, and they're pretty thrilling. I mean, you can do these things can get a little wild. And there's just so much as you continue to work your way through this land that there's a kid zone, and I think about the Jurassic camp over in Jurassic Park at Islands of Adventure. To me, is one of the coolest little areas and one of the unknown or more unknown areas of Islands of Adventure that if you walk through it, you're going to be blown away. And people who have kids obviously have probably explored that. But in the summer when it's really hot, it's a great place to disappear to and try and cool off a little bit. Now this right here reminds me a little bit. Now it's a different version, but it's given me the Enchanted Oak vibes. And for those of you who know Enchanted Oak, back in Lost Continent was directly across from Dueling Dragons, and it was cool, And this is being Mead Hall here, I think is going to be something somewhat similar. And you continue to move through the land. There's cool little There's just all kinds of cool stuff. Little splash pads. There's the fire drill or power drill, whatever that is. This water ride right here, I think, not whatever it is, but however you say that, just looks interesting. You're going to get wet. It looks fun. It looks interesting. It looks unique. And this whole land just screams like just creativity and wildness. Now, this right here, for those of you who don't know, there is a version of this show that's already open overseas. And the Untrainable Dragon looks like a wild stage show. So let's kind of get through this, right? You got Hiccup's Wing Glider. This being a family style roller coaster, it's going to be thrilling. There's no doubt about it. You look like you're flying. You're zooming all through the land. You're over the water. You're under the walkways. It's going to interact with the land in a very, very, very cool way. And I think it's going to be really an underrated ride. Not many people are talking about it when it comes to Epic Universe. People are obviously talking about Starfall / Stardust Racers. People are talking about the Dark Universe and some of the rides there. I think people are excited for this ride, for this land, but not many people are talking about the rides in it. And I think it's going to be an area that's incredibly popular and incredibly fun. This right here is what I was talking about, the Untrainable Dragon. They fly these massive props over the crowd. The stage show looks cool. I've watched it. Obviously, it's in a different language, so I don't understand the whole narrative of the show, and I've not watched the movie, so don't know everything that they're talking about. But I can't wait to watch the show because visually it looks unreal. I mean, it looks beautiful. And then you got the Dragon Racers Rally. The dragon racing, right? So you got two sides, and as you walk into the land, into the Isle of Berk, this is what you're going to see. You'll see people zooming around, flying around, and although not maybe not the most intense, this is still a pretty thrilling ride, and one that I think people are going to have a blast on. And it's cool how they did both of them together. I think visually it just looks awesome, and it's another pretty high capacity ride that can get people through, and it's something else as an attraction to keep people from, to help manage the lines, manage the flow in the park, which is always a win and something that Universal is very good at. Then you got Fire Drill. I think I said Power Drill earlier. Maybe I just saw it quick. Whatever. Fire Drill. This water battle reminds me, it's giving me Men in Black vibes, but instead in a boat on water and you're shooting water rather than a laser. I think that's going to be pretty epic. And I can't wait to see the actual POVs or experience this ride because it's going to be fun. Right? We're going to be able to shoot water, get water shot at other boats. Like, it just looks pretty wicked. Let me click through this and we'll actually kind of walk through the page. Right? So you see they're shooting water here. You can shoot through the targets. There's going to be water coming at you. You are going to get wet. And look at this. It looks like mayhem. You're coming through here. You're shooting water, shooting back. It's going to be a really fun time, I think, and a nice break from all of the just insane heat, especially in Orlando. If you've been to those parks, you know how wild it can get. And then we come to the Viking training camp, which again, it reminds me of Camp Jurassic, and I think it's going to be a really cool spot. A lot of little shade. Not quite as in-depth as the one in Jurassic Park, only because it doesn't look like there's anything inside, but there's going to be all the tree houses and the sails and areas, which it looks like there's probably going to be some water and some things to climb on. I think it's going to be a cool spot, and it's definitely going to be a place for kids to have a good time, to climb, to slide, to kind of get around and just cut up inside of this land. And then I mentioned Mead Hall. Mead Hall looks really cool. It reminds me of the Enchanted Oak, and I don't know what kind of food we're going to have. I know it's going to be meat heavy, and let's kind of look around. I mean, the inside of this, come on, y'all. This looks incredible, right? So you're going to have hearty menu, include meat, fish, sandwiches, and desserts. We haven't seen the full menus yet, but you're going to have meads and ciders and ales. And this is going to be the place where if you're hungry, you go, right? I think it's going to be super, super cool. I think it's going to be another great place, another good food option inside of the How to Train Your Dragon. And just look at this as you enter. Like, that's just freaking mind-blowing, y'all. This is cool. So I'm excited for How to Train Your Dragon. I didn't think I was going to be, honestly. I wasn't sure what to think. I wasn't sure if it was going to be what I was hoping it was going to be. At first, when I saw it, I was like, man, come on, you're wasting a whole land on How to Train Your Dragon, but I get it, right? Every one of these parks, every like Islands of Adventure, they all have a land that is designed around kids, and I think this one really perfects that formula because it's going to be something that's really, really attractive for kids because of How to Train Your Dragon, but it's going to have a little bit of thrill for the family, for the older people in the family. And I can see this one right here, Hiccup's Wing Gliders, being maybe one of the first like big roller coasters or big kid roller coasters for a lot of the early teens. And I think that's always awesome. Anytime you can get people a ride that's thrilling, that pushes them but doesn't make them uncomfortable with all the inversions or the crazy heights. Universal does this at a whole different level, especially these launch coasters. You can tell that they're falling in love with them, which is perfect for their parks because you don't have to spend the time going up the lift hill. You don't have to worry about height restrictions. You can just launch and get the thrill and get it started pretty quick. Sorry, I'm going to die over here. Again, we mentioned in the first episode of this podcast that I wasn't going to edit stuff. So sorry for that. I'll try and take it down so it's not like blasting in your ear. But again, to wrap this whole thing up, I'm amped about this park. I'm amped about this land. I'm way more excited about the land now that the announcement has come out. And I think How to Train Your Dragon is going to be up there. It's going to be an incredible place to go, a great place to hang out, and it's going to be a really pretty land to walk around. So I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. Let me know what you think. If you're listening to the podcast in audio, come connect with me on X. Let's have some conversations about How to Train Your Dragon, the Isle of Berk. And if you're on YouTube and you're watching my mug, make sure that you leave some comments below. Let's have a conversation in the comments and really talk about what this park is, what it's shaping up to be, what your favorite parts are going to be about this land, and if you're a real thumbs up or a thumbs down on How to Train Your Dragon, the Isle of Berk. I appreciate it. As always, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode.